One. Hello, everybody, and finally, welcome back to another edition of the Boiswego Pod. We've had quite the hiatus. My sincerest apologies to all you members of the league. I've been lacking. I've had mono. I've had a lot of tests. Just haven't been up to the LM nuts, and I haven't been fulfilling my LM duties. So for that, I apologize. But today, I am fortunate enough to be here with my co-LM, the Deputy Commissioner Ryan Lemmerman, and the Boiswego statistician Ethan Alba, who's making his first appearance on the pod. How are you boys today?
Pretty good, pretty good. Thanks for having me again. Second time, but appreciate it.
Always a pleasure. Ethan, how are you?
Yeah, no, excited, ready to go. Hoping for a fun, good weekend. So just glad we made it to Friday, I guess.
Hell yeah.
Right.
And now, so that fun, good weekend might be a little dependent on your matchup here with Lem. How are we feeling going into it?
Yeah, I think honestly, my team's in the best spot it's been in the past 3 weeks. Um,
Okay.
Now that's not saying much because I've dropped like 101 and like 80, 82 the past 2 weeks, but everyone's healthy. Everyone's gonna be playing. There's no buys, so I guess not everyone's healthy, but like, dude, that's a juicy matchup for golf. So I'm excited. I'm excited.
That is Monday night prime time.
Good,
Ethan,
good.
what Ethan, what prompted you to change your team name to the 2020 Chicago Bears?
Yeah. So for those that are not in the Bears lore, the 2020 Bears started off like 5-1. I'm pretty sure, so pretty close to my current record. But really, everyone had a sense that that was kind of fraudulent. And not to dispel a lack of confidence onto my team, but I don't know. I've soured on the prospects of our championship run, to be honest.
Why is that? What makes you feel that way? Is it because of the trade
They,
you made, or I mean, your players are all
yeah,
the same
I get
besides Henry.
they haven't been performing as well. Um, I'm a little worried about DJ Moore. I have no clue what to make of T. Higgins.
Yeah, he
Um,
changed his name from the solution to collateral damage.
yeah, so and I mean Goff is gonna be solid, but he doesn't have the upside that Anthony
AR.
Richardson had. Now Kyler might, but he's also coming off an ACL injury, so who knows?
Yeah, Kyler could definitely be a huge, I
Yeah.
guess it's not showing the IR, but he could be a huge addition to your team. Where
Yeah.
what you give up in AR-15, you might get back in Kyler. So that could be big news. Also point out, um, I guess on the app it shows you obviously the matchups, but I think T Higgins end of the year schedule is like besides KC like all green, so that could be working well for you if you can turn it around.
Yeah, we'll see. He just needs to stay healthy and yeah, I don't know. I regret that pick every single day.
Well, nothing you can do about it now, but I think a lot of people had a good feeling about Higgins going into the year, so hopefully he can pick it up. But Lem, you have kind of had a little bit of a similar story. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
you
Ethan
you
said
started
this
four
is
and one, right? Have you dropped
I no, I was 3-0 and then
3-0?
or three, yeah, 3-0 and then 3-2 and then 4-2 and then I lost last week.
All right, so a little bit of
All
an
over the place.
up and down start to the season.
I
But
mean,
now, from the last time we talked to you till now, you get more of a sample size on your team. How are we feeling about it?
Dude,
I
I didn't
mean,
even wait before you say anything, Lem. I didn't even realize that you had two dudes play yesterday. Like I'm already down like 35
They
points.
did, yeah, they
dude,
did pretty
yeah.
well too. But you guys are projected to tie,
Oh,
so
I know. I'm sitting here like, well, okay, to start, Ethan was like, "Oh, this is the best my team's looked in like 3 weeks." Like, I feel like this is the most I've been projected since like week two. So like, I feel like I can kind of relate. And like, I mean, I was excited that I literally was, to be honest, I was not watching the football game that much because the Bucks were playing. And like now that basketball's on, I'm like a little bit less into football. Like I'm still obviously all in. But at the same
You're worried
time,
about beating the stream team more than you're worried about
no, no,
beating
no, no.
the
I mean, I'm just
2020
like
Bears.
I just enjoy basketball too much to like not like put my attention to it. But at the same time, like I was like, wow, like I can't believe my Thursday night guys did like over what they were projected. Cause I feel like a common theme this year is just like guys like just stooping a little bit under my projections every week or like only getting a little bit more. And Godwin got his first touchdown of the year. I'm glad I held on to Kincaid because that was a guy I drafted like expecting him to blossom by like week 10. And now that Knox might be out for the season, I'm glad I held on to him instead of, I mean, his weeks 1 through 5 were not looking good. So I could have easily dropped him, I feel like, but I'm glad I held on to him. He's going to be a good player to have moving forward. Good to see them look his way. I think he had two or three end zone targets too. So might be a red zone guy. But I mean, yeah, great start from Thursday, and I'm still 50-50 with Ethan. But
Yeah.
that says a lot about how good our matchup's going to be, I suppose. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So for this is going to be a nice joke for the boys and boys and friends basketball league, but Lem was tuned into NBA TV instead of being tuned into Amazon Prime last night.
Hey, that's facts.
But yeah, no, Lem, I feel like the story with your team has, like I just said before, been very up and down. The last time we talked to you, I think you were 3-0 at the time, but you had a very glass half empty look on your team. But you've made some good moves. I mean, you picked up Ridley, you got Mostert back, and now you have Kincaid as like possibly a top 5, top 3 tight. I mean, his numbers without Knox now, he looks like he could be a premier tight end that everybody thought he was drafted to be. So your team's really turned it around and you're looking pretty good again.
I mean, we'll see. I feel like my window on the running backs are running low just because Hunt's gonna have Ford back, or maybe even maybe the Browns trade for someone by Monday's deadline. And then obviously A-Chain coming back, Mostert's on a short leash. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like, I've tried reaching out to trade with literally everyone, and no one seems to want to give up a running back. So I mean, the first year in this like new league, like I mean, I'm gonna definitely go with a different strategy than I did this year. But I mean, this is my team that I drafted. This is the team, or these are the type of players I acquired. So I'm just gonna have to deal with it, see what they can produce, and then try to manage my way around it. So thankfully, I did get that 3-0 start, but a lot of work is going to be done because I do not have any points that can like support me in a playoff run because I'm pretty sure I'm second to last in points for, which is absolutely crazy. Like I'm very thankful that I've stacked up some wins, but I mean, week by week, I just got to approach it, win this game, see what happens. But I don't know. I'm not as confident as I was last podcast I was on, obviously. So
yeah, I mean, I would say like very much for every team at this point, it's all about winning games right now, especially if you're like me or you, like we're lower in points, but still like in the heart of the race, you just gotta win, find ways to win games. Like I'm in the same boat you are, Lem. I got a matchup with Steven. If I can find a way to steal it and get myself back into the divisional race, like that's what you could do with Ethan. If you win, you guys are tied at the top of the division again. So it's a crucial game for you guys. I think it's definitely probably game of the week, I would have to say. So a lot of eyes on that one, on that Amazon Prime game. But so all right. So Ethan, so we kind of already talked about it, but how are you feeling? You know, I would say people would probably still have you at the top of the power rankings. Maybe Steve and I guess Evan's got a record to show for being at the top of the rankings. But where do you think you stack up amongst the league's upper echelon?
I don't know. that's a difficult question because I beat Jordan last week, but he played horrible.
Yeah, Jordan's definitely up there too. I would say you, Steve, Jordan, Evan, maybe even Steven.
Yeah, I think the way, fantasy football works is you really don't know if you have a championship level team until like you're in the playoffs. There's so
Yeah.
many things that are going to be different between now and week 15 that, you can try to build up, and having 5 wins in the bag already is really nice, and being the leading scorer is really nice, but teams are going to look so much different. And I think that's another reason why I'm a little concerned is I only have one fob left. So if there's a big injury pickup that I would need to do, or a big running back that hits the wire, they're just not going to end up on my team. So my team is what it is. I don't know if there's room to make moves. I think I could be an easy first round exit. I think my team could make a deep playoff run. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, um, I've always been a believer that fob isn't real. It doesn't really matter that much, but I mean, I could be wrong. It's probably not the best opinion to have, but I know I always spend my fob early, so I don't think it'll kill you. But I will say, I think the one injury you maybe can't uh, make up for is if you lose one of your running backs. Obviously, McCaffrey would hurt a lot, but you have Mason. Gus Edwards actually played well last week, but I think you need Aaron Jones to be healthy the rest of the way. Otherwise, your depth's pretty good. You got that receiver too, right?
Yeah, so yeah, I like Elijah Moore, and I think, in the event that T. Higgins gets hurt again, I wouldn't mind playing Tyler Boyd.
Yeah.
But yeah, the team's in a precarious situation. I need everything to go right for me to win a championship, I would say, this year.
Yeah. But at least you have a chance at a championship. I would say almost everybody's still in the race except for maybe Drew and Brady. They're kind of out of it. Vaughn's done some stuff to turn his team around. I mean, it's looking a little dire for Cheetah and the Skip, but they still have a decent squad that maybe can push for a wild card. But I mean, at least you're in the position to say that you can be vying for a championship. It's always good to have the most points for and the best record. So you got all that going for you.
Evan does have one more win than me. I will say
yeah, that's true. Evan has yes. Good point.
Yeah,
the most
Evan's
points
a good
for is big.
Yeah.
And in the chance that you were to lose some games, you should still hopefully be able to get the 7th spot with the points. So there's that working for you. All right. Anything you guys want to add before we go into our game?
I think I'm good.
Lem, anything you want to say to the league?
I mean, Steven's been on my nuts for like the past 2 weeks, just saying that like my team sucks, my team sucks. Like I get it. I literally haven't tried to dispute it. And there's other people that are just like, oh, my team sucks. Like, okay, I get it. But at the same time, I haven't had Jettis, who is if you're not accounting for McCaffrey, who was the 1-2, Jettis is the 1-1 player in fantasy. Like, not having that type of player, like, your team's going to be worse. Like, I just went from being projected, or not even projections, like, typically scoring about 115 to 110 to like anywhere between 105 to 115. Now that goes down about 7-8 points at least, just because Jettis isn't there, because he's that type of player. So I mean, I'm glad he's coming back eventually, like, because I anticipate he would with the Vikings, like now winning a couple games. But it's a big player I need back in my lineup if I want to go on a run. So I mean, my team is bad right now. I will accept that, but I'm also missing arguably the best player in fantasy football. So I feel like that's a big part of my story. So
I'm glad you brought that up. I forgot that you had Jettas. That makes it a whole different ball game. If you can withstand him being out, you're going to be looking pretty good come playoff time. I will say too, I think the trade deadline's like week 11 or 12. If it got to the point where, because you said you were trying to get a running back,
I'm trying. I'm trying so hard. No one just wants to.
it would be hard to part ways with Jettas, but if you had to do it, you could probably
Oh no.
trade him for a running back or two.
No, I'd never. I'm sorry. Jettis is untouchable. Like
Wow. So
I can
he's
be no, I can be 0-15 by week 15 or week 16. Like I don't I'm
the
he's my
ship will
future.
sink with Jettas if it has to. But
He's my
then
future.
you can always get the little Titanic and go down there and rescue him for next year as a keeper. So
Exactly. Yeah.
and as long as he doesn't get hurt, it won't implode. Too
Yep.
soon? Hopefully not. All right. So we're gonna do a game. It's really simple. It's not anything fun like in the past. I apologize. I'm sure Ethan probably wanted to do something like the immaculate grid or something like that, but it's would you rather. So the way we're gonna do it, we're all gonna take 4 turns. You're just gonna look at a team and then come up with a would you rather question. So I could go first. And we'll just say that this is going to be the Cheetah and the Skips teams. This is their would you rather. So would you rather be Cheetah and the Skip right now, or would you rather be Vaughn? And you guys can each take turns answering this. I'll pull up both their teams. So Cheetah and the Skip is 2-5. They have 825 points for, and they're not probably going to catch Evan, but I mean they're right in the race with Vaughn, me, Steven, Lem for 5, 6, and 7th seeds.
Can you pull up their team? Sorry,
Yeah.
I don't know who's really
Yeah, I mean, since I kind of know them, I'll start
yeah.
and say that this is crystal clear. I would so much rather be Vaughn. Like, don't get me wrong, Cheetah and the Skip have a good team, but like Vaughn kind of has like a couple superstars under his belt that we know like can go off. Like, I feel like the Cheetah and the Skip have players in Amon Ra and like I can't remember who the running backs are. Oh, Mixon and them, but like having a guy like Josh Allen, like I know firsthand, and I think they have. Shoot, who else does Vaughn have? CD.
Yes.
So like,
Vaughn
I
and
mean,
CD.
they like have superstars, whereas she and Skip have a good team, but like not having a quarterback too, where where quarterbacks are a big part of this league, I feel like is just not.
There's is Jordan Love.
Yeah, who I'm not high on, and Damian Pierce. Like I picked up Singletary this week because I think like eventually he'll carve out a role, but you never know. But still, Pierce isn't a PPR running back.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody's lacking wide receivers that would give up a running back. I'm guessing maybe not, since Lem, it sounds like you've already tried to look for that. But Cheetah and the Skip got Hopkins and Downs on their bench, who are like, bona fide pretty good pieces. And then they got 3 great receivers here. I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to like combine Downs and like Pierce and upgrade at running back or something like that. But yeah, I think I kind of agree that Vaughn's in better shape, especially after he gave me the business last week. Ethan, what do you think?
Yeah, I thought Vaughn did a great job at or not at the deadline, but when he made all of his moves,
He did.
and I mean Rashee Rice, like
He's been good.
he could be like a league winner, honestly. So
He's been very good the last 3 weeks.
yeah, I like where Vaughn's team is at. And yeah, I mean, I guess my only qual would be like when Jameer Gibbs or when David Montgomery comes back.
With Gibby, yeah.
What happens there.
He's got
Rashad White
sneak. He had a
yeah.
good game last night. 17, 18.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, no, honestly, I think I'd much rather be Vaughn. No
Yeah, now that I
disrespect to
look at it,
Cheetah.
it's closer than I thought. No disrespect to Cheetah, but I mean, I'd still take Vaughn.
I'm not sure why Amon Ra's in their lineup, but maybe that's wrong. I don't know why it says that.
I forgot they had Diggs, so that's on me.
Yeah, their receivers are awesome, but there's just a lot of questions with their quarterbacks. I mean, Stafford, let's see, what's he been doing? He's like Stafford's a consistent like 15 points, which is all right, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens with Cheetah and the Skip. They have made like minimal moves. Their team just kind of stayed the same. But maybe I think they've had some tough matchups. Maybe they'll get to an easier part in their schedule. I don't know. We'll see. But Vaughn has definitely beat the bad manager allegations this year. The trades he made were awesome. They were tactical. They've improved his team quite a bit. I think he's definitely a contender now. All right, Ethan, I'll let you ask the next question. Is there a team you'd like me to or I guess should we just go? Well, we don't really have an order, so
Yeah, can you go down to the standings?
yeah. You could do would you rather player wise too on a team if you want, or
Okay.
standings, just whatever you want.
I mean, I think a really interesting one is would you rather be Steve or Steven? I mean, they're both 4-3.
That's a good one. Yeah.
They've both shown weeks where like, oh shit, this is the best team in the league. They've also both had a couple of weeks where it's like, I don't know. So, and they're in the same division too. I think that's he has Ritter on his team.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But Kirko is his big quarterback.
Yeah, and you know, I'm not gonna come on here and shit talk anyone, but some of the trades that Alex made specifically with Steve are they weren't vetoable, but in some they were very questionable, especially because they all went to him. I mean, he got Brees for Kirk or he got Brees and Kirk for James Cook. Like that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's man.
That one was questionable.
The first one I wasn't a fan of, but I was willing to like wait it out on the second one. And the first week with Kenneth Walker and Puka were actually pretty good for him. So
yeah, he actually might not have lost the second trade as bad as we thought. It'll depend on Chase, but he got two pretty good players actually. So I don't know if the verdict's out on that yet, but I agree. The first trade was just bad. I think he just like kind of got thrown off by trading JT for Hurts, and then he was like, "Oh, like what do I do at running back?" Because his running backs were Brian Robinson and I don't know who his other running back was. So I think he kind of just felt pressure to.
It was Brees.
Brees. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I don't know. Well, yeah, I don't know why I traded Brees, but I mean, if you think about it at the time, Brees hadn't had any big games yet because right after he traded him, he got the 30-point game, and there's the week 1 big game, but he had like 2 or 3 duds, and Zach Wilson didn't look very good. So, I mean, it in retrospect, it was not a good trade, especially given Brees's caliber and ceiling, but you can see a little bit why he did this. I think he was just trying to figure out his running back room after making such a big trade and just didn't take enough time to analyze his options. But
yeah, I mean, sorry, we're not talking about Alex's team. We're talking about Steven Stevens.
Yeah.
But, okay, we'll probably get to Al eventually, so I'll bring up my point then.
Yeah. This is Steven's team. I like Shaheed as a bench piece. Although I don't know if he scores as many points. In Spencer's league, he scores a fuck ton of points because he does kick returns.
Yeah. Honestly, I'd be open to maybe exploring that rule again next year.
I like the kick and punt return rule because it just makes the wide receiver pool a little bigger for streams and stuff like that. It makes it a little more fun. But
I agree.
Kamara's been great. Go ahead, Ethan.
I think my biggest issue with Steven's team is like, and I know this doesn't have a big effect, but like, I prefer to have players on good teams. You look at like a lot of his starters, like Saquon, the Giants are trash. The Saints, I'm sorry, Steven, they're trash. The Jets are trash. The Texans, like, they're sneaky, but like, they're not very good. The Patriots, garbage. So like, yes, these are good players, but when you have those two, oh, okay. I forgot that he has those two players on his bench.
That helps.
That That does help a lot.
For the playoffs, that'll help a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
And I
But
think Steven will get, given how many points he is, I think he should get, he should be able to get into the playoffs. So
yeah, no,
he's
I'm not
dangerous.
saying Steven's not a good team. I'm just saying when team building, I'm trying to like get players on good teams, especially good offenses, because the floor is just a lot higher. Kendrick Bourne could put up a zero burger. You
Yeah.
know? But I know he's a bench piece for him.
I think that Stevens actually got one of the deepest teams, if not the deepest team in the league.
I agree.
I think, Lem, I'll let you go after this. I think Steve, here's my bold take. I think Steve is gonna win our division, but I think Steven is better prepared for the playoffs because Saquon will be fully healthy come playoffs. And hopefully if these guys, I don't know how long they're out. I think Devo will be back soon. I don't know how long Kyron's out.
At least 4 games.
But if they're back by the playoffs, then I think Steven's got a pretty good chance to make a run because you figure that Kyron goes here and then he can play Debo, Wilson, or Collins based on matchups. So I don't know. They're both good. Go ahead, Lem.
I feel like it is closer because like it's hard not to look at Steve's team and see like Cup and Chase stand out, but I feel like it's a lot closer than people might anticipate. Like Ethan was saying, I like Steven's depth a lot, or you both are saying you like Steven's depth a lot. And Lamar's starting to actually look like himself too. So, and with his rushing upside, I feel like he could be a 25 per game player. So, I mean, I'm gonna go with Steve here just because Chase acquisition was crazy, and obviously Brees is now an RB1. But I'd say it's about like 55-45 in all honesty. So it's a good debate for sure.
Yeah, I think just to piggyback off that, I think I actually like Steven's quarterback and running backs just a little better, but that's not to say that Steve doesn't have great running backs and a really solid quarterback. But obviously where he wins is having Cup and Chase. They're just a little better than Steven's receivers and probably a little like I think the difference in the receivers is a little more than Steven's difference at running back and quarterback. But I'd say their tight ends are Laporta and Hawkinson. That's pretty close. Olave, do you guys think Olave is better than who's Stevens? Nico? He probably is. Yeah, I'd say he's just a little better.
I'm not so sure that Olave is like definitively better than Nico Collins, and I know that's crazy, but like with the way that Derek Carr is playing right now, like
dude, I'm like one of the biggest Derek Carr haters, so I agree.
Yeah. All right, Lem, what's your would you rather?
I have like part of it, but I can't. I mean, can you go to a team we haven't talked about yet? Maybe like.
Oops. Should we go to Mickey or?
One of them's about Jordan. Let me think of the other.
Do you want his team or do you? Yeah.
Go to your team. Go to your team. Okay, yeah. Actually, here we go. Would you rather be Jordan having Bijan or you having Pollard?
Ooh.
Because I feel like they're low-key similar. Like they're not getting as much playing time as they should, but like they're both like high upside players.
Yeah. Ethan, you want to go?
Yeah, I'll start. I was really high on Tony Pollard coming into the year, but I forgot that he did have like surgery. What was it on like
his ankle, I think.
Yeah, he had surgery, and Evan says some crazy stuff, and he thinks Rico Dowdle is better than Tony Pollard. I think that's blasphemous.
He said that after this game, by the way, because he says that Tony Pollard doesn't score enough touchdowns.
Well, and he said that he doesn't have the burst, and you know, when you think of Tony Pollard, you think of like quick, finesse, agile back. But I mean, I saw him. He got hawked down on a touchdown that he probably scores last year. So I do think that he has lost a little bit of speed, which is of concern to me. Um, and I think people also expected, myself included, that with Zeke gone, he was just gonna be like a bell cow back. And he's really not. He's still getting basically the same amount of touches.
Yeah.
Compared to Bijan though, I hate Arthur Smith. I think he's one of the like most annoying people in the
He is.
NFL. He and I think what they did with not listing Bijan on the injury report, like that like I know Arthur Smith is going to be like, oh, I don't care about fantasy. I don't care about your sports betting. But like, people are losing money on this shit. Like, I don't care. We don't care about him. He's so annoying. He's such a prick. His dad founded UPS. Of course, he doesn't care about poor people. He's set for life. So, yeah, I don't like Arthur Smith. I hate the games that he plays. I wouldn't want a Falcon on my team. I don't care if Jesus was in the
Wow. Wow.
That's wild.
I think that, you know, the Falcons actually they haven't even been that bad this year, but I don't know. I wish that this was like the app where it showed you like the end of the season schedule. I guess like looking at the teams, he's got the Bears, Carolina. I don't think Indy's run defense is that good either. I don't know. I think Carolina might have a good run defense.
Hey,
like, these are two
Bears
big
have a
matchups.
top 5 run defense in the NFL, by the way, statistically.
All right.
We suck, but like we're nichely good at something.
Yeah, our front seven's been like sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad, and the linebackers. But let's see. How do I feel? I mean, I love Tone, but he hasn't been as good. Like these were two not great games, but part of it was like New England's just always good at scheming. I don't remember what the score of that game was. This was kind of game script. Like they got blown. Like the problem with Pollard has been that the Cowboys are either up by a lot or down by a lot. The games aren't close. So Pollard, like, I don't know, his carries are a little like all over the place if you look at this. But I think Bijan's always going to get his touches as long as he's not like sick. So I would probably rather have Bijan, but I think that was a good question. I hope that Pollard turns it around. And I guess his end of the season schedule is not super great, but Miami is probably an all right matchup. Detroit, maybe. I don't know. Go ahead, Lem.
I think Bijan's definitely the right answer. I was just curious because I feel like they're both like in systems where they could be elsewhere and thriving. And well, Tony Pollard does have that injury, like Ethan mentioned, but at the same time, like I feel like if he's good to go, he could be getting more than the 69, 70% snaps that he's been getting. So, and a lot of that is with game script. And Bijan, I feel like the Falcons are always going to be like in close games too. So I feel like that's in his favor. But I was figuring like two players that could be similar in value. So why not go with that? But
yeah,
I like the answers.
Yeah. All right. So I did Cheetah and the Skip, Jordan, and Ethan. Which one did you say? We did Steven or Steven. All right.
I got another one.
Go.
Look, I'm not trying to ruffle some feathers, but real question. We all get in the fantasy championship. Would you rather take the 6-1 Wurzbacher squad or the 4-3 Steve Watts squad?
Ooh.
Steve Watts.
That's a really good one.
I think I would agree.
Yeah. I think I have to agree too. I mean, you just can't argue with Steve's team having Cup and Chase. I mean, I don't know. Evan's got. I mean, Evan's got the best. What?
I didn't realize Cam Akers is starting for him. Is that like a need or?
It's because Monty's hurt.
Yeah,
Oh,
Monty. I mean,
oh,
do we think what? Here's another question about Evan's team. Do we think that Gibbs, after the big week last week, is he going to start eating in the like Monty's going to get the goal line carries, but are his touches going to go down? Because he has been like a bell cow like almost all year.
It's really
What's
confusing because the Lions sent
his
mixed messages,
percentage?
right? Like Campbell says Monty's the bell cow back, and that's what they were always planning on using him as. But they drafted Gibbs 12th overall. Like they were super excited to get him. The messaging doesn't make sense. Now, whether he's been slower to develop than they anticipated, I don't know. Um, but it is a confusing situation. I still would think that Monty is the bell cow back when they get back or when he gets back. I think so.
Lem, what do you think?
yeah. I mean, I probably agree. I feel like he'll eat into a more of the reception side, obviously, but if they're down, they
Yeah,
might need Gibbs to get in for reps in that department. But yeah, I mean, people tend to forget that they signed Monty to like a decent contract in the offseason. So I feel like if you're going to spend that type of, well, draft capital is important too, but if you're going to spend that type of money on him, I feel you have to use him for what, at minimum, the goal line. And he's done a good job. So I feel like why replace him if he's done as good as he has? So
yeah. It's actually pretty interesting that Evan's what 3 points behind Ethan for 5 points behind Ethan for most points in the league. So he's right up there with all of the top teams, and he has the best record. So the Rook is really proving the doubters wrong and haters wrong as the season progresses. But to answer your question, I mean, you just can't argue with Steve's team. Evan does have like I think JT after like I think from this week on is going to be a stud, and he has the number one receiver. I mean, like Hill, how much better do you guys think Hill is than Cup and Chase? Do you guys think they're all in the same echelon, or is Hill like in his own this year?
I mean, I think he's a little better than uh like Chase or better than Cup, but I don't know. I feel like Chase might be a little better than him, but I mean, I
Okay.
feel like it's all dependent on like if he's healthy because I've heard a couple times his name pop up on the injury reports. Like he's been
Yeah.
dealing with hip like nonstop. Sometimes I mean, I think he wears like no socks in his games too, so that can't be good.
Yeah, he got fined by the league for that.
Yeah, that can't feel comfortable. And I know it's not an injury, but like maybe it could lead to one. So uh,
Yeah.
I don't know. I they're all in the same tier, obviously, but I'd say it goes Chase, Hill, then Cup.
Yeah. I would say if we're just like comparing Steve and Evan's team, like Kirk and Stroud, Kirk's probably better. Taylor and Brees, Taylor's better. Ivan was probably hoping that the key would play a little bit, but I don't know what's going on with the Bears backfield. So
I
we'll
think
just
he'll
say
turn up this week.
We'll just say Monty and who's Steve's
Josh
Jacobs. I would
Jacobs.
say I actually honestly think Monty's better if he's getting all the touches, but if he's not, then probably Jacobs. I think Hill's better than Cup. Chase is better than London, but London's been a pleasant surprise. Mandrews is better than Hawk, but yeah, but Hawk's been really good too. That's pretty close. And then this guy's been outperforming what he usually like what his expectations were. He kind of came back down to earth last week, but he's been pretty good for Evan. He's been able to rely on Curtis the Burtis.
He's a sneaky
Lockett,
winner.
I do not like Lockett, especially with Njigma coming into the fold this past week. I always think of him as so boomer bust, but he might be able to help contribute to Evan's team if Samuel's not doing that good, but I don't know.
The depth is really there, but
yeah. All right,
no.
moving on. Would you rather be Drew or Brady?
I was thinking about that question. Damn.
They both suck, but who's got more to play for the rest of the year? Who's got the better team?
I would say just if this is a keeper league, and I know
That's
the
all.
obvious answer is Drew keeps Austin Eckler. I think I'd keep AJ Brown. I'm not even gonna lie. I think he's
Dude,
been
Brown's been a
so
beast.
dominant. He's been so good.
A lot of
Like,
green.
look at that. He hasn't had under 125 receiving yards since week 2.
That's
This
wild.
is with Devonta Smith and one of the best rushing offenses in the NFL. Like, he has room to grow, in my opinion. I think AJ Brown's a beast. Toddy. And I think go to Brady's team. I haven't looked at Brady's team in a while.
I think he said the only person that wasn't untouchable, or that wasn't untouchable is Mahomes. So I feel like that's where he's going too.
Yeah, I think I'd rather keep AJ Brown over Mahomes, and that might be crazy, but
Oh, he said he's keeping Mahomes. He is the
I
untouchable.
mean, you
Well,
would
I mean,
have
that
to.
was, yeah. Don't take my word for it, but that was the text.
Swift's been pretty good.
He has
Maybe not
been.
keeper worthy, but he's been a bright spot. Yeah,
He's
I actually think that
RB6.
Drew's team is better than Brady's as well.
Mm-hmm.
But his receivers are, I mean, Brady's team's all right. But yeah, Drew's got Eckler. Ramondre, I think, was good last week. Yeah, he's been all right the last couple weeks. Yeah,
I feel like
Brown and Eckler's good.
I feel like we've seen Brady's team at his best already, and yet we like Drew's team, like we haven't gotten to like see it all together.
Yeah.
Even Mike Williams out. So I mean, I'm going with Drew here. Just
Yeah.
for that sake, and he's got an actual decision about his keepers instead of just banking on Mahomes. So
Yeah.
And again, it's important to know, like, Brady lost his first round pick. When you lose a first round pick, like, it's going to be
I
extremely
did forget about
difficult
that.
to keep your team afloat. So I don't think this is an indictment on Brady as a manager. He was dealt a pretty crappy hand. Now giving you Mostert for 3 was questionable. I do think though, in like week 13, especially if Derrick Henry gets dealt somewhere,
No,
and
that's the thing. When we were talking, he's like, no matter what, I'm not giving you Raheem without getting Spears. And I was like, fuck.
yeah,
Spears is like my late guy that like if everything like backfires, like I think Henry was gonna get traded or injured, one of the two. And Spears like has that good receiving value too. Like I was like, at least Spears will be a plug and play guy, but it sucks
yeah,
losing. So I'll give him credit. Like he did make me give up Spears.
I think the problem for Brady though is that trade will the benefits of that trade will be realized too late. When you're 2-5 or when you're 2-4 like he was when he made the trade, you can't be making trades for week 14. You need to win the
True.
next week. So
I will give him, I mean, him trading Ridley hasn't really done much too. So at least like he didn't lose a lot in that area. But
Yeah. All right. One last question.
we're the last two
in terms of the
teams.
game. Yeah, well, okay, so I'm putting a little twist on the last question. So we're in what, week 8? So we have technically 7. We're halfway through the season. The playoff race is kind of starting to shape up. I would say so. We're gonna say that the leaders in each division are we're gonna say, obviously this might not happen, but we're gonna say for right now they've clinched their divisions. Those are going to be 4 teams that for sure make the playoffs, but that leaves 3 teams in the wild card race that can make it. 2 teams that get in by excuse me, 2 teams that get in by record, 1 team that gets in by points. Of these teams, who would you rather be? Pick 3 teams: Steven, AJ, Vaughn, Lem, Alex, or Cheetah and the Skip. Pick 3. Who would we rather be? Also, we should talk a little bit about Alex's team. Lem, I know you had something you wanted to say. Say that before we go into the.
Oh shit.
This
It was
is
something with
technically
Reese.
would you rather
Oh
with
no. I think I personally like wasn't big on Taylor, and I think that hurts for Taylor trade. Like,
that was a good trade.
I think that was an under the
Hurts has
radar
been really good.
because of his recent moves. But that, like, I see Hurts throw like an interception every game. I'm like, oh, surely he's like maybe he got
3,
like
and he's still
19 points.
19.
Yeah, no, like that's like his floor. Like his floor is 19. So I think that was a
Yeah.
great move by
I mean,
him.
dude, look at the rushing touchdowns, dude. For Hurts, that's insane. And I know those are like all tush push or whatever, but like, dude,
It's almost
that's
it's pretty much every week.
I want to make throwing touchdowns and rushing touchdowns even, but everyone was like so against it.
I
Especially
think
with
it's just
the
so much
shit
harder
going
to get a
on.
rushing touchdown.
I know, but when that shit's going on, like Hurts throwing 2 interceptions means absolutely nothing because he's getting the 2 points back from a rushing touchdown. As opposed to, let's say, Goff throwing 300 yards and 3 touchdowns is like still significantly less. Like,
Yeah, I just think
I,
it's harder to get
I
a
get,
rushing touchdown than
I agree. I know.
the
I get the
pay
side of
the
it.
premium for it.
I know.
But
I get
yeah, I hear you.
get why people say, but I mean, I feel like throwing QBs are just like get no love anymore. But I've
Yeah,
always been an advocate for Steve's format, so
that's true. It is a lot different than
yeah. I
the
mean,
old league, the old
but yeah,
Wild
Hurts is
West.
a great pick.
All right, back to my original question. What are we thinking? What 3 teams are you guys picking? Ethan, you go first.
I think first has got to be Steven. I think Steven is, I don't want to say a shoe-in, but very rest assured to be in the playoffs. The points for is where it needs to be. I mean, his points for is in the upper echelon of the league. So I think
Mhm.
Stevens a Locachino for the
So
playoffs.
he's getting the 5 seed. Who's getting the 6 and 7?
I
I think.
mean,
Oh wait, are we doing separate or alternating?
I honestly, Lem, I think we should work together on this.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be Alex. Like I'm so
He had
cooked.
a
Like
really good week last week.
unless
Alex
I
did.
win the division, I'm like winning the division. Like if okay, let's say we're tied, is it still points forward for like?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm done. Like that's so like oh man, because if I beat Ethan, not saying it's gonna happen, but like if I go 2-0 in the division and I still don't win, that sucks. But I mean, I get it. Points forward is a big thing, but I'm
I
going out
think
because
I think that on the ballot for next year, we should definitely vote on if we want, like if you're 2-0 or 1-0 against somebody, if that should take. Well, I don't know. It's hard to say because I think a lot of people prefer to have points for be the tiebreaker, but we could put it on the ballot whether or not you want head.
I mean, I think it should
Head-to-head.
be points for. It just sucks that I'm on like the back end of it. Like, I mean, maybe if you're gonna do like specifically head to head or like who's fighting for a spot, like 1-on-1, especially in the division. Maybe not like the full playoff picture, but in the division, maybe do it head to head.
Mhm.
But other than that, I think it's points for, and it.
That's what that I think. I think
I'm in the
the
back end.
tiebreaker in division should be head to head. But I think like for
We
playoff
could do that.
seeding and everything else, it should be points for. But I think
Yeah.
that makes like the division games even worth like
Yeah.
that much more. If you lose a division game, I mean, you're in trouble. And that's how it is in the NFL too. Like
Yeah, that's what I
division games
thought
are
too.
so important.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll definitely have to put that on the ballot for next year. Back
But
to
I agree with Alex as the 6th seed. So it comes down to the 7.
which is points.
Yeah.
So that leaves Lamb, me. I have more points. Vaughn, who actually has the most. And then Cheetah and the Skip had the most points of those 4 teams.
That's very interesting, actually.
Do you guys want to look at each of the four teams, or I guess
I,
Lem
I I
knows
have a
his
good
team?
I have a good idea at this point who's on those teams. 30 points, like a 30-point advantage at this point in the season for Cheetah and the Skip
Pretty
is
big.
it is pretty big.
They're 2-5, but they could get in as the 7th team with the points for.
Yeah, I mean they're 2-5, but they've given up the most points allowed. So like
Yeah,
there's clearly been, and this
that's
is
what I'm
why the
saying.
rule exists.
I
Yeah.
think they've had a tough schedule up to this point. And yeah, like you said, that's the whole point of the rule.
Mm-hmm.
Vaughn's team is starting to score a lot of points. He put up like 135 on me last week. Look at this. I mean, Gibbs was good.
Yeah. I think
He had these
think-
guys on his bench too, mind you.
I mean,
Vaughn's got a lot of depth actually. Vaughn's got a solid team.
I'm gonna go with Vaughn. I mean, I like Vaughn's team a little bit. I mean,
Over
actually,
your team?
the question we talked. I mean, he's got the points at least
Yeah.
right now.
Vaughn's not. I guess it's like 35 behind them, but
yeah, but yeah, I'm gonna go with Vaughn. I think he's gonna score a little bit more as the weeks go on than Cheetah the Skip, but you never know. Close matchup.
No, I think I agree. And I know I talked about this with Steven's team, but like he has Josh Allen. That's in a good offense. Jameer Gibbs, good offense. Pacheco, Rice. Like he has players on teams that are gonna score a lot of points. I
The
I
thing
just think
is,
Vaughn did
oh
well.
god, go ahead.
No,
Sorry.
you're good.
Oh, I was gonna say like it's Vaughn, so he could fumble, and I feel like that's a lot to risk. Like saying that, like if anyone in the league is gonna fumble a position where they're in the lead, it's could be Vaughn. But
That's
um,
true.
wow.
manager
he's
standpoint, Cheetah and Skip are better, but Vaughn right now I think has the roster advantage.
Yeah.
I guess it just comes down to though, like, can Vaughn outscore Cheetah and the Skip by 30 points over the next half of the season?
Yeah.
That that's a tough ask.
Yeah. Lem, I think I was gonna say I think that you and I are I mean, I guess we're both a game back in our division. And I feel like we're on the outside looking in from points for, so it's gonna really just come down to winning games. But I have to agree with you guys. I think my team's in the hunt and I still believe in it. I think without James Conner, I don't really have too much of a chance. I mean, I have a chance, but I would give the other guys the nod. And Lem without Jettas is obviously Jettas is a lot better than James Conner, but unless he doesn't come back, you might be in trouble. But I think it's going to be a really tight race. Like we both have a chance, and then like we said, Vaughn and Cheetah and them, that could be it's going to be really interesting. It's going to be a fun end of the year. Hopefully, I can start bringing back the guests every week in the LM notes and make the league more fun again. I apologize for not doing that. I will be back next week with another edition, and I will try to keep it going, keep the momentum going. Before I let you guys go, do either of you guys have anything to say to the rest of the league? Anything you want to talk about outside of the league? Anything going on in your guys' lives that are worth noting?
I don't know. NFL season is losing real estate in my brain, to be honest. Bears are trash. Freaking all balls are trash. Basketball is here. I just got FIFA, man. I don't know, dude. I didn't even watch Thursday night. You know how much it takes for me to not watch a Thursday night game? Like it was on at the bar, so I was watching. But I was out with people that don't even like football, man.
Yeah.
I need my Bears to be that I realize the Bears are the foundational part of my football love. I need them to be good.
Yeah, I always find it a lot easier to watch football when the Bears are good. That's for sure.
Well,
Lime,
I
anything
guess
for you?
you guys haven't enjoyed football in a while then.
The 2018 season was very special. I liked football a lot more than.
That's fine.
I believe it.
Lime, anything for you? Any fun plans this weekend?
just hoping to beat Tennessee, but I mean, probably won't happen. Knowing Kentucky football, Kentucky sports, like I honestly, I feel like I'm seeing a correlation with Kentucky sports and the like Denver Broncos. Like I feel like every year it's like, holy shit, like we made these moves, like what are we gonna do with them? And then it's just, oh no. It's like every fucking time. Like we pick up Devin Leary, who's like this all ACC quarterback. Like that's like, and then the games go on, and he is the one position that like has been sucking. Like all we need is a good quarterback, and maybe we have a one or two
Missing
extra.
Levis.
Yeah, he missed so
He's
many
gonna
throws.
play
Starting
this
this
week,
week,
right?
Lem. What's he gonna
Yeah.
do?
Yeah, he is. Dude, I don't know. I mean, a couple interceptions, but he's doing. I mean, he's good, but I don't think he's NFL ready. At least maybe he was putting in the work this offseason, but
Yeah,
he's more like a down the road piece. But
yeah.
yeah, hopefully we got a preseason basketball game tonight. I'm not going, but like that's kicking off soon, so hopefully we're a lot better there. But basketball's a lot more competitive, I think, than college football right now. So
Yeah, we always compare the Hoosiers to the Bears, and
yeah,
there's a high
dude.
correlation between them. They're when we were freshmen, they were both kind of decent, and after that, they both suck, and they can never get more than like 2 or 3 wins. So, very accurate comparison.
I'm almost certain that they have yet to win in the same weekend since like we've been students. And I know that was true. I know for a fact it was true freshman year. The past 3 years, I don't know, but considering there's probably like 12 combined wins from both programs in the last 3 years, I would not be surprised if it's not true. Like if that's happened.
Yeah. All right.
'Cause
One
our,
last. Oh, go
oh
ahead,
yeah, go.
Ethan.
I
I
was
was
just
gonna
gonna
say.
say, oh,
No. What do you want to say?
like because our cookie like Idaho games are always before the NFL season, so like we don't even get the
Yeah.
benefit of the doubt of those.
Right. Absolutely. One last thing for the basketball league. Ethan, you're down 0-9 to Mark right now. How are you feeling? I think isn't that
You
your is
actually?
that your or no, I'm your rival, but how are you feeling against Mark? You guys are kind of rivals, it seems.
Yeah, no, I cannot lose to Mark. Um, I mean that would be putrid, especially in the fashion that I'm currently losing. I will say, um, he has had a couple more players play than I have. He had like LeBron play last night. Um, so we'll see, man. I don't know. I'm starting to really regret that Ja move because that really constrains my roster because I can't put him
Yeah.
on IR. So, and I didn't realize he's not coming back till week 9.
That's
John
the
might be
thing
a
too.
stream
Like
teamer.
that's the thing. Like you can't like drop like
It
it.
sucks you can't
It
put him on
limits your
IR.
waiver like pickups too. Like you can't really.
Yeah,
You
well,
only
that's the
get yeah,
thing.
you
Like,
get less.
yeah,
Yeah.
and so yeah, I might be like I might be in a bind, honestly. We'll see. But I cannot lose to them or Mark. I cannot lose to Mark. That would be horrible.
Well, I
Well,
can't lose to the stream team. That's
Yeah.
more.
it
But
looks like it might come down to honestly it's like steals and 3-pointers or something like that. So
you have me by about 5 threes right now. But I picked up Dr. Struce, so he's gonna light it up the next 2 games.
well, Lam, good luck to you. It's gonna be a fun one. Hopefully Wemby can get some blocks. I saw you got Jaren playing a back-to-back, so that'll be good for you. Because blocks are a little close too, but all right. Well, thank you guys for joining me. It's always a pleasure having you guys. And for those watching at home, it might have been a longer episode. I apologize for that, but we've been gone for a while, so we had a lot to unpack. And I would just want to thank you guys again for taking the time to analyze each team, and hopefully the guys at home enjoyed it. So have a good weekend, everyone. I'll get the LM note out probably tomorrow. And yeah, best of luck, guys. Peace.
Thanks, Kamish. Keep pushing through the motto.
Better.
Yep, we'll do. Peace.